Lately, I've been sitting with an idea that honestly scares me quite a bit. I think it's finally time for me to leave my job. Even saying that out loud feels strange, because for almost 3 years now, this has been my life, my routine, my structure, my source of stability. And from the outside, it's not even a bad job. I work as cabin crew, I still do. I travel the world and people often tell me it sounds exciting. But what people see from the outside is what you feel internally can be two completely different things. And the truth is, this job has been waiting on me for a long time now. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Not every single day, but enough that I started to feel pretty much disconnected from myself. And I know that I'm not the only person who has felt this way. I think a lot of people are quietly sitting in jobs, environments, or lifestyle that no longer feel aligned with who they really are. But they stay, sometimes because of fear, sometimes because of comfort, sometimes because they genuinely don't know what comes next. And honestly, I understand all of it because I'm in that exact place right now. One thing I've realized is that exhaustion is not always dramatic. Sometimes, and actually most of the times, it's pretty quiet. It's waking up and already feeling mentally heavy, even before the day starts. It's functioning normally on the outside, while internally feeling disconnected. And over time, I started noticing that this job was taking more from me than it was giving it back. Not only energy, but clarity, peace, presence. At first, I ignored it because that's what adults are supposed to do, right? Keep going, be responsible, be grateful, even have a job. And I tried, I really did. But there comes a point where your body and mind start sending signals you can't ignore forever. And if I'm really honest, I think I stayed longer than I truly wanted to. Not because I loved it, but because living feels terrifying, especially when you don't fully know what comes after that. I think one of the hardest things about leaving a job isn't the actual resignation, it's the uncertainty that comes after. Because when you leave something stable, you also leave certain predictability. The monthly salary, the company's provided accommodation, the routine, the structure, even if that structure is slowly making you miserable. And society really reinforces that fear. People constantly talk about security. Be careful, think logically, do not make emotional decisions. And again, I understand that perspective. I'm not against responsibility, but sometimes I wonder if we've normalized staying unhappy for far too long just because it looks safer. And lately I've been asking myself something very honestly. What if the bigger risk is staying? What if slowly disconnecting from yourself for years is actually more dangerous than uncertainty? That thought has been sitting heavily on me. Recently I had a conversation at work that stayed in my mind, not even with the friend, just a colleague. And at some point I mentioned that I was seriously thinking about leaving the job. And immediately he pointed his finger at me and said something like, "Do not dare to resign before you have another job in hand. Trust me, bro, trust me, don't do it." And internally my reaction was almost immediate. Lower your finger, buddy. Thanks for advice, but you don't really know me. You don't know my background, you don't even know my skills or talents, you don't know my mindset or the things I'm actually capable of outside of this job. It's just a job. And that moment made me realize something important. People often give advice based on their own fears, not your reality. Maybe for him, living without any other job lined up would be terrifying. Maybe he lives paycheck to paycheck. Maybe he builds a lifestyle he now has to constantly maintain. Maybe he needs external validation and expensive appearances to feel secure. But I'm not him and he's not me. And that doesn't make either of us right or wrong. It just means people are different, and I think that's something society forgets quite often. Some people generally need structure, they thrive in stability, predictability gives them peace. And there is nothing wrong with that, but other people slowly die inside when they stay too long in environments that don't feel aligned, even if those environments look good on paper. And I think I'm more of that type of person. I've always valued freedom deeply, experience, creativity, meaning. Even in my 20s, I wasn't someone obsessed with climbing corporate ladder. I cared more about feeling alive. And that's why my path was unusual from the beginning. Being an athlete for 14 years, working on a Spanish island as a scuba dive instructor, then going to Maldives, then Dubai. I chased experiences more than status. And now, at 32, I feel caught between two words. One side of me says, be responsible, stay stable, keep grinding. The other one says, you're running out of time to build a life that actually feels like yours. And honestly, that internal conflict is sometimes exhausting. I think one of the most dangerous places in life is not complete failure, it's comfortable misery. When life is just good enough that you don't live, but not good enough that you feel fulfilled. And that's a trap, because if things were truly terrible, the decision would be easy. But when you make enough money to survive, when your life looks acceptable from the outside, you start questioning yourself instead of questioning the situation. You tell yourself, maybe I'm just ungrateful. Maybe this is adulthood. Maybe everyone feels like this. And maybe many people do. But I don't think that automatically means we should ignore it. Because deep down, I think we all know when something no longer feels right. Because deep down, I think we all know when something no longer feels right. The difficult part is having the courage to admit it. One thing I'm slowly accepting is this. I may never feel 100% ready. There may never be a perfect moment, a perfect plan, a perfect certainty, a perfect confidence. And maybe that's normal. I think social media created this illusion that every life transition needs to look strategic and perfectly calculated. But the real life often isn't like that. Sometimes you live because your soul is tired. Sometimes you live because your intuition keeps pulling you somewhere else, even if you can't fully explain where just yet. And honestly, I respect people who take that leap. Not recklessly, but courageously. Because staying in something that continuously disconnects you from yourself also has consequences. Consequences people rarely talk about. The anxiety, the numbness that you feel inside you, the loss of motivation, the feeling that your life is becoming mechanical, like a robot. That's real too. Right now, I'm trying to trust myself more, not blindly, but enough to believe that my life experience, my skills, my adaptability, and my mindset can carry me through uncertainty. I've lived in different countries, I've rebuilt my life multiple times already. I've adapted before, so why do I suddenly act like this job is the only thing keeping my life together? That realization changed something for me, because fear has a way of making your current situation feel irreplaceable, even when deep down you know it isn't. And maybe many people watching this feel the same, like they've outgrown a chapter of their life, but are scared to close it because they can't yet see the next one clearly. I understand that feeling completely. I don't know exactly what comes next for me, and honestly that uncertainty still scares me. But I think I'm reaching a point where staying scares me more than leaving. And maybe that's how you know something inside you has already changed. This video isn't about me telling people to quit their job. Everyone's situation is different. Some people need a detailed exit plan. Others need more courage, and others genuinely should stay. Only you really know your situation, and I do hope this video reminds people of one thing. Just because something is stable doesn't mean it's right for you forever.